to everybody. KG4MUK here. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel and give me some thumbs up and share with the other amateur radio friends about my page. Today I'm just outside for a little bit, going to kind of show you a little bit about what I've been talking on and what I use. Currently I've got this antenna up about 10 foot above my head right now. This is the Cushcraft R9. It does 6 through 80. And everything here, you'll see, this is like your network, your ground plane, and then it goes up here. And then it has these tuning sticks on these little platforms going up. And you got the different bands as you go to the top. And right now, I've got this antenna pretty much where it needs to be. I've still got to do some fine tuning on it and everything. But other than that, I mean, let me get out of the sun here a little bit. The antenna works very good. A lot of the talking that you hear me doing on my YouTube live is with this Cushcraft R9. And I still got some tuning issues. I've got to bring my SWR down because of the Ameritron 1306. It's a little finicky on SWR and everything. But right here, this one aerial you see going up, that's 10 meters. And then you got 6, 15, 17, 20. It's kind of hard for me to show you in the video, but anyway, you get the picture. It's a really good antenna. It is a little advanced to set up. It is time consuming to get it just right. I've got it on a winching system right here where you see that I can just winch it over. I've got it guide off up at the very top up here. You'll see guide wires on it, because the guide wire kit, you got to have it with this antenna because it is a really top heavy little vertical. It's about 31 feet tall, I believe, and it's to the top's about 41 foot to the top. A really good antenna. I would not recommend this antenna though for if you're getting into ham radio. I would not recommend this antenna to a new ham, just because it's involved and takes quite a little bit of work to get everything right. You could tempt it, but I've heard and seen too many forums where people have made comments about they just give up. Need to learn a little bit about amateur radio. I got a wire that is just a simple MaxCon off-center dipole. Now that off-center dipole you'll see is right up here. Now that off-center dipole is probably, from MaxCon, is probably one of the best antennas for a starter antenna that I would highly recommend. Go to my QRZ page and look up KG4MUK on QRZ and look up, I got a link on there, look up a MaxCon antenna. Tell them I sent you. And getting into amateur radio, I would go with the off-center 3K. It'll do 10 through 80, and it's absolutely beautiful. Get the isolator for it. Also, put you about a 12-inch jumper on it. Now, you can see it stretches 100 and something feet that way and about 150, 170 feet the other direction. You need a little space for it, yes. You get it up in the air about 40 feet and it'll work fantastic. A really good antenna. Now, I took my tower down here a while back and I have not been able to, because of weather and everything, I've not been able to do nothing but just put my hazer and the crank up on a section of tower just so I can get it off the ground. And then when weather cooperates later on, I'll try to work on that and get the MA5B, you know, where it really needs to be. Because I'm building a tower right now to change this, but this is the MA5B right above us here. The MA5B from Cushcraft, I put it on a stand. I got my SWR on all the bands that it operates. It's a perfect one-to-one. Now, like I said, it's sitting on this hazer. I've got it blocked off where I can take the pressure off of the winch. It's a really fantastic antenna. Probably one of the best beams for a mini beam. I would highly recommend that. If you're going to start out in amateur radio and you can get you a decent rotor, a decent tower up, it don't have to be but 35, 40 feet, to be honest with you. Get you an MA5B, get you a good MFJ analyzer, and get really good coax. If you got an MA5B, a good rotor, and everything that you need to set that up, and you get one of these up about, like I said, 35, 40 feet, and you get some good RG8 and 8U would be my least type of coax that I would go with. If you could, I'd go with 100 foot of LMR 400 flexible. You can get the one that's got the center is solid. That's not as flexible, and it's a booger moving around in the shack. Get the LMR 400 that's braided with a wire twist, and it's more flexible, easier to work with and easier to manage. 100 excuse me, 100 foot coax, locate your tower about 30, 35, 40 feet from your home. Get it in a good area where trees are not too close. This thing's 7 feet long and 14 feet wide, so it's got about an 8-foot turning radius roughly. I would say that's probably one of my most favored beams, and I have worked the world with just literally 100 watts. If you're going to get into the amateur radio hobby, another thing too, well, let's talk about radios and such. Everybody has their choice. And I know people are going to make comments, and they're going to take and maybe say, well, I'm not really a fan of that one or this one or whatever. I'm going to be straight up on the table here and just tell you flat out. I'm a Kenwood man. I love Kenwood. I do own a Yaesu FT DX 101. I do like that radio. And it is what it is. It's an expensive radio. But if I was seriously going to get into amateur radio, and I was going to start out, and I'm telling you this just because it's the straight facts, I would save my money, and I would get me a Kenwood TS 590 SG. And you'll never have to buy another radio. Not for HF. You'll be getting the best bang for the buck, the best performance in a small radio with the big package deal. Because it is like having the 890 or the 990 in a smaller package. There's a few things that it doesn't have that the other radios do, but you're going to get your best bang for the buck. And if I'm going to do anything as far as an advertisement or bragging about a radio that I really, really, really like, it would be the Kenwood TS590 SG, hands down. If you can pick up an older Kenwood TS570 or a 570D or a 570 SG, that's fine. I have 3 of them, and I've had them for over 20 years, most of them, and I've never had problems out of them. They're a fail-proof radio and a really good radio, and I would definitely say they're on the top of the end of the best of the best. Now, if you just happen to like ICOM or Yaesu or Alenco or any of those other radios, and I hate to do this on my video here, but you know, if I was going to have to go with a different type of radio, I think I would have to go with the ICOM 7300. But I have operated the 7300. It is a little complex, and I don't like the navigation issues I had with that radio. It takes a little bit of work you got to go in here, pull the program up. If you're going to set the radio up, there's just a lot of moving around in the menu, going from one thing on a display, then you got to back out, go to this, and you got to go back in there and go to this. I hate that about that radio. And I'm not trying to turn this into I hate this and hate that. I'm just stating the facts. The FT 991 and the 991A. There's not a whole lot of difference in them other than the display. I'm kind of a fan of that radio. Its ergonomics are decent. But again, navigation, it's a high-tech radio. Kenwood, on the other hand, the ergonomics of it are phenomenal. And I'm not saying that because I'm just biased and I like Kenwood only. I like Kenwood because it's the one that works best. It's ergonomic, it works well, it has great features, it's easy to navigate, it puts out great audio, good power, and it's a phenomenal rig. And I wouldn't be making this video if I wasn't going to say that that's the radio I would choose if I was going to start out with my first radio. It would be indefinitely, hands down, Kenwood TS590 SG, period. Go with a MaxCon off-center dipole. You can go to www.qrz.com and go to and type in my call sign, KG4MUK, and there is a link there for MaxCon antennas. Let them know I sent you, and just tell you want to try the 10 through 80 off-center dipole. It's the 3K model. You won't go wrong with that. I promise you. You will definitely enjoy it. But again, I didn't want to turn this into a butcher, but I wanted to be just straight up and honest and just tell you the facts, and that's the radio of choice. And if I was going to have to make that choice, that's what it would be. And I hope that, you know, I can continue to keep making these amateur radio videos, sharing with my hobby, but sharing my opinion as well. My opinion is just my opinion. And not everybody out there will agree. And that's fine. That's what makes the world different. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And be sure to subscribe and like my channel. And we'll talk to you again soon. See y'all later. KG4MK.